Some lovely birds flying over the river there. And what we're looking at here is not a very high waterfall. Obviously, it's only, I think, 2 meters high at its highest. But it forms the widest waterfalls in Europe. 270 meters across from one side of the waterfalls all the way over here. So if you feel inclined, and it's something that several people are likely to feel inclined to do, you can actually, I'll just step out of the way of some other folk who want to take pictures. You can enjoy yourselves by taking off your shoes and socks and just playing in the water a bit. In fact, the tourist information literature I was reading was suggesting it's something you really ought to do if you come to Kuldiga. I don't see anybody taking them up on it today, although it is a lovely warm day. Oh, hello. I mentioned about how they make movies here, and sure enough, they're making some kind of excerpt from a TV show or a music video, is it? Cameraman and director down there. Somebody singing and playing an accordion up on the balcony. But this is an interesting angle, that's why I'm assuming it's not actually a music video, but more like a scene from TV show, or I don't know, because from their angle down there they're not really going to be able to capture much, are they? Have to watch out at the local Latvian cinemas for more. We're being overtaken by somebody feeling horny. We've got a little bit more here in the way of sculpture. We have this man here who is a folk musician. It's Latvia from 1975. Can't keep a good sculptor down, can you? Or should I say sculptress? And my God, from 1951. Wow, that's a sudden leap, isn't it? From 1951, the violin player. So this is nearly 30 years earlier than when she was making those other sculptures. Interesting. She obviously had a long career then. I was thinking she was just a 70s protege, but no. That would seem to make it even more unlikely that the lady is still around. But wouldn't it be cool if we encountered an old lady somewhere on our day trip in Kuldiga, chipping away at some stone? And she was Livia Rzewska. This piece, Latvian Woman, from 1963. A mound, and yeah, I'm sensing, as I'm sure you are as well, there's absolutely nothing left of the castle. Not a sausage. I didn't see on the notice board, because I was looking specifically for it, details of the complete destruction and emptying of the site. When did that take place? Do not know. Here's a lovely spot, isn't it? For a cafe. For a coffee, for a cafe. If you feel like a beer, a small one's €3.20, a large one's €3.80. If you feel like some fries, potato chips, €3.70 by the seams of things. Churros, €3.50, especially for the Spanish. An Aperol Spritzer, 400 grams, €6, half the price of Venice, but a little bit on the pricey side. But you would expect nothing else because of the wonderful location. That makes sense, doesn't it? Here is Bangert's Club Restaurant. Again, if you're coming away for your honeymoon, some of these little places, ideal where you want to splash out and enjoy your time together. Or if you're bringing your loved one here because you want to get engaged, pop the question by the waterfalls overlooking the river, somewhere in the vicinity of this bridge. This is another famous feature of the area. The bridge is made of large stones and red bricks, and what I was reading was it's the longest red brick bridge of this design, again in Europe. Now, well, the top part is made of red bricks and the bottom of large stones, so does that really count? I like it just as it is, with 99.9% only Latvian tourists coming here. Maybe some Lithuanians, maybe some Estonians, but yeah, if they want to get people from a wider audience, then certainly they will need to push things a little bit and come up with some novel ideas about the bridge, the waterfall. But clearly, with nothing left of the castle, apart from maybe what's just underneath this mound, there's sort of half a door here. This is the last remaining indication of there being something here. I did read there was a powder tower. It was on a notice board when they were pointing out way back in the town where attractions were. Is this what's left of the powder tower? But again, I'm guessing. You'd think there'd be something here just to say this is not the powder tower and it's, I don't know, 19th century or something. Or, indeed, this is the last that remains to be seen of the original castle that was destroyed by who knows who and who knows what. Don't think it could have been an earthquake, could it? Probably war, unless somebody just decided to rip it all down and turn it into a park because they were feeling, well, they were part of the Russian Empire for so long, under the Russian yoke. Perhaps it seemed that the Tsar was feeling quite secure in this land, never coming under attack from anybody back in the 19th century perhaps, and therefore he chose to give orders to rip it down and turn it into a nice park for my friend the Duke. Livia again. Indulis un Ugis. Now, who are these two folks? Obviously, one man carrying another man or woman on his shoulders. Let's get a little closer to this one. Yeah. Interesting, and presumably there's a legend that goes with those two characters. Again, if you're more interested in learning about Latvian mythology or actual historical characters, then why not treat yourself and go and look it up on Wikipedia. Oh, there's a snub-nosed lady. Who's this? This is Vizbulita, Raina Vizbulita, as created in stone by Livia Rzewska in the 80s. So yeah, her career obviously spans over 30 years. Oh, we do get a nice view of the waterfalls. Already had nice views. I suppose you can't get bad views of these waterfalls, can you? Here we are. Lovely. There's a nice riverside walk over there. I think I might take that because I've not been on that side of the river before. And I'm tempted to just have a stroll around to check out the wildlife. Primarily the birds. And across the bridge, we've got a bird on a rock down there, but what is he? Don't know. And somebody fishing. Doesn't that look like a lovely haven for bird life? A lovely marshy haven. And now we're on the other side of the river. There's a fairly well-known wood sculpture here called Love. We have a bridge called the Love Bridge. Again, doesn't take a lot of imagination. And it's a fairly modern looking build, this version of it. Some relatively recent additions. Yeah, you guessed it. You guessed it, didn't you? Einars and Linda. Oh, Einars loves Linda. It's more serious than we thought. It's not just a passing fantasy. A daydream. A summertime hookup. No. Einars loves Linda. Got an alternative route that way, if we chose to take it, away from the crowd, and why not? Or we can go this way. Let's go this way. See how close we can get to the waterfalls. I think you can probably get right up to the waterfalls. I guess we've had some rockfall here in the past, although it's not a cliff. There's no cliff to our left, so stones have just come down from there, and that's where the castle used to be, but you'll have to take my word for it. No trace today. And I'm guessing this is about as close as I can get without getting my toes wet. And the walk continues around here. Mind your feet though, because they might get wet just when you thought you'd managed to keep them dry. They look like black-faced white gulls to me, those birds. And as I walk, I think I might stop filming. Otherwise, I won't be able to take a dip into my bag and help myself to a few snacks which will be worth scoffing because I'm getting a little peckish. Maybe time for a banana or a few little bread things. Bread with bits of bacon bits. Speck, as they call them in German, I think. And here are my little snacks. 2 of them anyway, connected with some melted cheese. And tasty. Got a bag of them from the supermarket. Not expensive. Perfect for lunch on the go. Yum. Try not to make a terrible mistake when you're following the signposts to the waterfalls, because it might be quite possible that you come here and think, oh, this is a little underwhelming. It's actually quite nice. But it's not what you'd seen in the tourist information brochure, is it? So the Ventspils, that's the main waterfalls we've already seen, the 270 meters worth of them. This is called something like the Alexupita waterfalls. I pronounced it terribly, I know, but yeah, they're just in close proximity. But just bear in mind, this isn't the main attraction. This is where we started this morning, and we followed the river in the bus down to Kuldiga, an hour and 5 minutes away. The accommodation available when I was booking, too expensive to stay in the town. I'm not paying 30 euros for a room when it's just me, you know. Seems a bit pointless when I'm paying less than half that up in Ventspils. So 3 euros down for the day trip, 3 euros back. In a couple of days' time, I shall be taking another bus all the way down the coast to Liepāja. My plan had been to stay in Kuldiga overnight, so to go from Ventspils to Kuldiga, and from Kuldiga down via Aizpūta to Liepāja. However, it just didn't make sense economically. So instead, 4 nights in Ventspils, and I think it's working out pretty well. It's that year again, 1905. This time there are 2 male figures with a flag in the middle. Latvia striving for its independence from the Russian Tsarist Empire, presumably. I'm wondering if that is what was formerly Kuldiga's synagogue. There are apparently 3 buildings from the complex still remaining. The main synagogue building has turned into the library. There's another chapel building, but I could be wrong. I need to get closer. Not entirely sure, but does this speak of synagogue to you? 19th century synagogue, what do you think? Let's see what we find around the corner. If it says it's the library, then we'll know, aha, this is the place. Another one of the buildings has been taken over by the Arts Council, and it is indeed Biblioteca. So this is the old synagogue, the main building of the old synagogue anyway. And what a huge building it was, and is. Of course, we know what happened when the Germans got here. Sadly, doesn't need spelling out, does it? And with no congregation left in Kuldiga after the Second World War, here we are. 70 years on, it's been turned into a library. The building was built in 1875 as a synagogue for the Jewish community of Kuldiga and served as such until 1941, when the Jews of Kuldiga were killed during the Holocaust. Amazing that any of the synagogues remained at all, isn't it? I know in Ventspils there's the Jewish cemetery still marked on the map, but the reality is that it was devastated and it's just lumpy ground now. So I haven't bothered putting that on my list of places to go, although there are a number of cemeteries very close to the Seaside Open Air Museum. Interesting, depending on how much time I've got, because I do like to go into cemeteries of all types, all kinds, not for spiritual reasons, but because I'm often surprised with the stories which, when I can decipher what the stories of the dead person were about. Some of the artwork, of course, can be either tremendously moving, if it involves children, for example, or can be extremely interesting just because it relates to the person's profession or a particular moment in history, perhaps a tragedy in the town. I find cemeteries quite relaxing places to just sit down on a bench and enjoy a lunch. A snack lunch, flask of peppermint tea, listen to the songbirds, why not? Particularly in big cities, in the big cities where you don't hear the songbirds, you're more likely to hear them in cemeteries. I've seen an Orthodox church around here somewhere. That's quite a nice angle. So, how did you like the trip? How did you like Kuldiga? Do you think it was worth visiting? Was there enough to keep you occupied, do you think? There was a museum as well, a history museum, which would have told us a lot more detail about that castle, which has just disappeared through time, it seems. But after being in a museum of a similar castle in Ventspils just the day before, it seemed as though it might be a bit of overkill, you know. What did I learn? Well, what I've learned is yep, you can't trust cats. That's 2 out of 3 cats who've decided to actually not. They did break the skin, 2 of them, but no actual sort of blood flowing, thankfully. The 3rd cat, that's the nice cat, and yeah, I'm not sure I even want to risk petting that cat back at the hotel, just in case, having been savaged by his buddy and also the one in Kuldiga today. They could probably tell I was a dog man. The lesson learned for me is stop petting stray animals, or animals which aren't stray but just you're not familiar with, because your intentions may be good, their intentions may be playful, but their idea of fun is rather different to mine. Now, the long walk home, back from Ventspils bus station, via a shop or two, all the way back to the hotel. Ah well, it's been a good day, and if you enjoyed the video, you'd like to see some more, please be kind enough to press the like button, and why not subscribe? Costs nothing, and it helps me out a little bit, I think. It may help me out quite a lot. Until the next time, ciao ciao.